Started putting some drywall up. Didn't record this part. I'll be honest, I kind of forgot. I just started. I was, I'm off today, and I had like a really slow start. I kind of was just upstairs, just chilling a little bit. I finished up the framing, most of it. There's probably gonna be a couple little things I need to add in. I got like a place to screw everything in. I tried to find like a place, like I figured like this expanse of wall right here is gonna be like, kind of a main focal point. If you come down here, you're gonna see this. So I thought, okay, let's have the longest section here possible. I did decide to do them sideways, not vertically. My reasoning for that was that either way, I'm not gonna be able to have a full board because it's only 7'4" from floor to ceiling. So I'm going to be cutting some off either way. And with the way the floor slopes, I just kind of thought it'd be easier to kind of like roughly divide it in half. I kind of did about 44 inches actually at the doorway over there. And then I ran the laser level and just kind of marked that line all the way down. And then I would measure from the line, or I would rest the tape measure, hook it up on top of the top plate, whatever you want to call it, 2x4 along the top, measured down whatever it was. I think I subtracted either 1/8 of an inch or a quarter. I think I did 1/4 of an inch. Went to each stud and measured from that point down, and then got, went over and transferred it all to sheetrock. Did the same thing at the bottom. I think it actually worked really well. The floor, which it slopes down like over an inch, I think almost 2 inches from right here down to that point. So it actually looks pretty even. We'll have to see what happens when I try to put baseboard down there. If the stuff flexes slightly, which it might, because it's pretty flexible, I might be able to kind of bend that down, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I have enough space here to put a little piece right here. I still need to get a little bit more lumber to kind of build this in right here. I'm just gonna have a piece that attaches from here and attaches to here, and I'm gonna try to make this as flush with this as possible. It'll probably all be painted blue to match all the rest of the trim, and there will be a molding on the outside that comes all the way over to here. It's kind of tedious getting this bit in here filled in. Up here is all boxed in, but this is where the cats, I kind of have the baby gate set up, so they're just kind of coming in here. I kind of have it blocked off like that for right now. But that's kind of where I'm at. I put in some, I'm not, not a whole lot of electrical boxes. I put one right here. I'm not going to even worry about wiring it until I get the drywall up, because I'm just going to run it right from this outlet that's just always been right here under the steps. I'll just tap into that for right there. Probably won't really use that one much, but just in case we want to run a vacuum or something. There's going to be one right here. And then for the other side also, I think this one is just in case I want to put like a space heater right here. And I'm going to run these two outlets off of a separate breaker from the breaker that's going to be for this outlet. So that way, if I want to run the dehumidifier and the heater at the same time, I don't have to worry about it tripping the breakers. There's like 2 circuits kind of going down here. This one's going to tie into the outlets that are in the family room, and this one will tie into the ceiling lights circuit down here. So there won't be anything else major, just some lights, which are pretty much all going to be LED at this point. Got this all, boxed in all the way up to the wall there. I just kept it simple, just ran a little 2x4 right there, so there's enough space for them to go through. So anyway, that's where I'm at, guys. We'll see you when I do a little more. All right, got everything closed in right here. Got these 2 up, and then the piece that comes down here. And I just spent about an hour, I don't know, probably not an hour, whittling this template right here for the steps. Really, you kind of just have to just start somewhere and just keep whittling it down until you get it. kind of use the tape to reinforce it. It's two pieces of cardboard taped together. I kind of did one, and then actually the part that I cut out I just flipped over, and it worked for a bigger section. And I think what I did was I just kind of screwed one of these into the studs right here, when it was just a square, and I measured how far the bottom of the piece was, like with one section sitting on a step. I measured how far it was. It was like 30 and a half inches. So you can see like this piece, it's like the cardboard was sitting up here, sitting on a step. So I cut a piece of scrap tile, and then I kind of just started tracing. I rested on the step, traced it, moved it up here, traced it, moved it up there, traced it, to get like kind of a rough cut. And then that brought it down to kind of sit on the steps. And then I just kind of started marking where the steps come in and all that. I'm not sure how well it's going to work once I transfer it to the drywall. I'm just going to kind of play that by ear, I guess. I'm not even sure how I'm putting the drywall up over here yet, because I want it to run all the way up past these studs. I'm going to have it screw into this wood right here. So it's going to start from here and come down. Over here, it was, I think the top piece, the measurements were, within a half an inch from front to back. The bottom was all the same measurement though. Make sure it goes all the way up to here and wherever it stops. And then transfer my step marks into the other side of it and see how that works. Alright, so what all this is about right here is the best way that I can figure out how to transition this existing door frame, which is in the cinder block, into the new wall. So the way that I'm doing it in my head is, I built the frame, the nailer for the drywall, and I'm going to have the drywall come up to basically the edge of the cinder block, which is this board right here, and then this is like a filler piece that is just going to be as close to matching this. Like this will get painted blue, at least the exposed part. I might just run some kind of filler in the gap, caulk something, just to try to hide it a little bit. There's really only so much you can do to like hide it and make it look seamless. So I just try to measure the thickness of this to be, just enough to take it up to where the drywall is going to be flush. So this can wiggle around a little bit. I'm securing all this. This stuff is getting secured to the ceiling, and then the bottom at the steps. And then I'm going to be screwing it, it's screwed into this wood frame right here, which will kind of tie this last little bit into something solid. Right now, this needs to come out a little bit, so what I'm going to do is just kind of screw something into this here, pull this out so that it's flush right there, and then I'll screw it in this way. Yeah, so I just kind of temporarily screwed in a piece of drywall just as a guide. And then let me screw this in somewhere down here. So I kind of pry this back out a little bit. So that's now flush. So what I'll do is, when the normal drywall is up here, I'm just going to have some like 3 or 4 inch trim covering all of this up. So the drywall will come up behind that. The trim will be covering it like this. It'll be flush. And then it'll all be painted blue to match. And then I'll just caulk wherever there's like a little bit of a seam. It's not going to be perfect, but I think it'll fly. So now this is flush here. I can screw through this way. So there is going to be a couple screw heads, which I can just try to cover up the best I can. I'm not really worried about it. Have them a little bit countersunk so I can just caulk over it. This is a little bit further back. I could bring this board up here, but I think I can kind of eyeball it. This board was a little bit warped, so we're going to just try to line it up. It's pretty flush. And you know what? That's good enough for me. So now I can just move this board up here. Probably could have got a longer one that actually went the whole length, but that would have made too much sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and screw these in up here. I guess about 4 screws in this. Got one board in right there. I'll do this side next, and then I'll just do one across the top. That way there'll be an edge that the drywall can butt up against, and then be something flush to put some trim over. So over here, I want to try to have as few cuts in the drywall as possible to try to, like this is going to be an area that we look at more than any area. I would like to have there be one piece that goes all the way from up here, little diagonal there, and come down to, I think right here is 48 inches. Actually, that's less than 48 inches to that. So there can be one piece that goes right here. The only thing is that it's actually from the very top of that ledge up there to the floor, it's actually 98 inches, which is 2 inches longer than a sheet of drywall. So I'll have it flush up top, and then down here I'll have it stop 2 inches short, because that's going to be covered by baseboard anyway. I'll put a piece in there just to kind of fill it in, but you won't see it. I may have it go the full 48, so I'll just put another little piece in, or move this, or I don't know. So I have the tapered edge of the drywall up there, and I can butt up another one against it. So this is going to be a hell of a piece to cut, because I have to have the stair pattern in the bottom of it, but only a part of it, and then it also has to go up at a 45 all the way up there. So it's going to be pretty difficult. If I don't get the stairs to line up perfectly, that's okay. The stair edge will be covered up by something. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, some kind of a stringer or something. The biggest thing I'm worried about is just like that whole area right there, is to be, is flush and not having any joints in it. Work on getting this piece of drywall cut, and we'll see how that goes. See that? I got my rough measurements, and I'm going to try to transfer this to a piece of drywall. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna put the screws in this piece, but I did get it cut and didn't break it. It fits pretty nice and flush. I was able to get that switch in there. That was, you know, was kind of trying to work out in my head how I was going to do that, and it pretty much worked exactly how I had hoped it to. I'm gonna have to pull it back out anyway. I think that wire nut that I just had to install to kind of lengthen the one wire a hair is like kind of wedged behind it, so I got to fix that. But it works. The piece fits pretty good. There's about a 2-inch gap at the bottom. That's just because, you know, it was a 48 sheet piece, so from all the way down there to all the way up there, that's the full length of the piece. And I thought it'd be better to have, I mean, that's going to be covered by baseboard anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'll just put a piece in there to fill it in. You know, put a little piece right there. That'll be behind some kind of a trim stringer or something. But the piece, the bulk of what you're going to see is right there. So I'm just going to finish putting screws in, and then that side will be a piece of cake compared to this side. You know, this is flush right here, so there's going to be some trim, like, you know, baseboard type trim that goes over this. And in here, I'll just kind of caulk this little seam and just paint this part the same as this to match. And I think it'll blend in pretty well. All right, guys. So I got everything cleaned up down here. I'm going to go ahead and tackle the electrical right now, because that's kind of where I'm at. Before I can put the ceiling up, I have to know where the lights are going to be, get everything wired up. I got about 10 or 12 of these from Lowe's. They worked out to be like $10 a piece, I think. It was like 130, 140 for, you know, a dozen. They're really sleek. They come with a little template. These are 6.25 inch. I think they're actually 6-inch lights. They're, you know, supposed to mimic a recessed light, and you just get these little junction boxes. Comes with some really vague instructions. I mean, really, it just says, you know, use a saw, cut the hole out, use a suitable tool to remove the knockout, you know, on each side for the Romex to go through. And it comes with these little quick connectors. It does not say anything about mounting these, but it does have these 2 holes right here like that. I'm probably just gonna screw these up, you know, in the general vicinity of where I want it to be. So I have to kind of plan out where I'm gonna put the lights. I'm thinking I'm gonna have just like either 4 or 5 in this area. Get these wired in, and then I'll be able to put the ceiling up. I'm gonna just kind of mark out where everything's gonna go. All right, so I got the 4 up there. I have a kind of a map drawn out, so I know where to cut out the holes in the drywall once the drywall is up, so that I can just easily connect these to it. Just kind of, you know, mount these where they're, you know, not a little bit higher up than the joist. This one over here got, you know, quite a bit higher, but I think we'll be okay. So these lights are going to come down, and then I will figure out how to take, you know, whatever power is coming into, you know, these to then run these lights instead. I'll probably try to secure that wire up a little bit with a, you know, cable clamp. Pretty much it. Just 4 lights, 2 here, and then 2 going down this way. The ones going this way are all kind of evenly spread out. All right, so I got the light, or I got the wiring figured out. Basically, what the previous owner or owners, whichever one, did was, so this box right here, which didn't have anything over it, is I think the original light that would have turned on when you turn the switches on next to the steps. There's, you know, a 3-way switch set up here and up at the top, and that came down into this, and they just tapped these 2 wires, one going this way, one going this way, out of there to wire into the new lights that they put up. So right now I turned the power back off, but this is the only light that is turning on and off with that switch right now. It's just wired into what they had these going into. So all the rest of it, the lights that were coming on with that switch are now disconnected. And right here, this wire I labeled as stairs, that goes up to the light that's in the stairwell. So I'll need to tie that back in. So now I know what's happening with the wiring. It's really easy just to connect my new lights into that the way they did, and probably just get rid of this. I just put another little junction block or box right here that has the wire. This is like the power wire that's coming from the box over there. Comes into here, it branches off to the stairway light, and then over here to this light. That one's already done. You have your you know, connection coming down. Came over here into this one, and I left these out just to kind of show you these connectors. They work pretty well. You just push them in and they don't pull back out. I don't know if there's a release on here or not, but you know, you shouldn't have to take it back apart. If you ever did, you could always just cut them off and just use wire nuts or something like that. I would just say make sure that you only cut off enough insulation so that it can go flush and you don't have any metal showing right here, because there's not a lot of room up in there. You know, you're really going to be shoving it back up in there. You don't want anything to be touching. That's my 2 cents on that. Just you know, pull your excess wire back out so you have as much space in there as you can have. And just make sure everything is tight. You know, push them in, yank them back out. You may want to take a pair of needle nose to kind of grab each one and give you a little extra leverage to make sure it's pushed in all the way. And just make sure they're tight and make sure no metal's showing. I think you'll be good. Just a status update. All the drywall is up. It's going to be ready to mud and start mudding and taping tomorrow. I just kind of got the floor swept up. This in here is going to be another story. This is the state of this bathroom right now. I started pulling up the tiles to see how easy they were to come up. But they're all going to come up. The vanity and the sink will come out of here. I'm probably going to get a new vanity because I don't think there's any saving that ugly ass thing. May get a new toilet too. The toilet is actually only 5 years old, but if I can get it all cleaned up, then it's fine. But we'll see. The shower is gonna stay the way it is. It just needs to be clean. There's a lot of dust and stuff in there from doing everything. But the floor and the wall trim, you know, the same color scheme is gonna eventually come into here. I think the plan is get this down to where it's painted out here, and then I'm gonna get everything out of here so I don't have to like drag all this stuff over the new floor. What? So before I do the floor in here, I'll get the bathroom cleared out. Probably gonna do, I gotta pull the washer dryer and the stationary tub out of here to do the floor in here. May do the bathroom first because I want to have these things down as little as possible, like just enough to get it out. You know, hopefully just like the next weekend I have, pull this stuff out of here, get the floor in, get this all painted, and put it all back in within like a day or two. I'm probably going to be just getting rid of that box there and just building a shelf all the way across. I can put that fan motor inside of it and still try to have, you know, something that has some storage space, and it'll probably, you know, cover up that hole in the ceiling. I basically just put two 4-foot wide sections up here and here. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this little bit in, and I may just try to put something that covers up the pipe along the back there. I think I'm just gonna paint the pipes coming down the wall. Again, it's just a laundromat, I don't care that much. But get everything all cleaned up and a nice fresh coat of paint on the walls. And then everything's drywalled in here. I pieced together a couple sections, like this piece is a whole piece. I think that was the only whole piece besides the two ceiling panels in here. And like those two were just kind of leftover scraps. Pretty much all this was just leftover scraps. I was like, it's going to be inside of here. This piece has gotten damaged in shipping. You know, I'll just do the best I can. I put all the worst pieces in here. I do have an automatic light switch in here, so you can just walk in and, you know, if you're carrying a, you know, thing of laundry, you don't have to worry about turning the switch on. I thought that was kind of cool. We do have one outlet down there. There's an outlet over there. I have to wire that in. There's one here. Yeah, steps all the way up and down are drywalled. And I may just put like a ledge, like a piece of wood to kind of on the top to kind of finish this off. Did all the way around here. But I mean, yeah, basically everything is done. All the lights are up. So where I'm at, guys. I think it came out pretty good, and I can't wait to see it all painted up and finished, you know, because there's still a lot more stuff to do over here, though. I don't know if I'm going to tackle this over here right now. I got to figure out. Most all this wiring up here is all just deleted. When I figured out the wiring for over here, I just, like, this wire is just disconnected. This is going to this light. That outlet is no longer active. That's no longer active. So it's all hanging there, but that's all from the previous walls, and I just kind of draped them up there just to kind of get them out of my way. But, you know, once I'm going to pull all this down. That wall over there is going to come down. I may redo this laundry chute right here because it just looks like crap. I mean, I don't know what the hell kind of wood they use. It's all split. I may just build like a closet type of a deal right here that goes all the way to the floor and just has the laundry baskets inside of it. But this is like stage 3, I guess. I got, you know, stage 1 was the family room in here, which still has tools laying around. But I'm at least kind of coming in here. We have not bought any new furniture for in here yet. It's just still kind of a work in progress, but at least the floor is down. You know, the room is finished itself. It just needs furnishing. And then this out here, stage 2, And then this over here will be stage 3. And this is not going to be like completely finished. I'm just going to basically probably put up a whole ceiling all the way across, tear down that wall so it's the whole room, and just paint everything, you know, probably just white in here. I'm going to probably keep some of my, you know, my saws set up in here. So I have kind of an area to do some woodworking if I need to. And there'll still be a lot of open space for other stuff. Okay guys, I'm ready to start doing some mudding and taping. This is what I already had. I went ahead and got a new, over there actually. This is just an old plastic tray. What do they call these things? A mud pan. Okay. So this is a cheap plastic one. I had an 8-inch and a 12-inch in this corner thing, which honestly I don't really think that I used it last time, but after kind of watching a ton of YouTube videos on how to do this stuff, I think I'm probably not going to be using that. So I went and got a nice stainless steel one. I mean, it's just much nicer. I'm going to use this to mix it. I didn't feel like spending like $18 for a bigger one. This is what I used last time, and it does work. It'll go all the way to the bottom. Nice 6-inch knife. So I have a 6, 8, and a 12. I picked up, actually I'd already gotten these, just your standard joint compound, but I got this right here. They have different set times of this stuff. This is 45-minute set time. I figured that's good enough. You can get as little as 5 minutes, and I think maybe 20 minutes I saw. I went with 45, and the reason why is because I was watching some stuff this morning, and it looks like if you have something like this right here, this kind of a gap that's like probably more than 1/8 of an inch or so, like 1/4 inch and up, you want to kind of fill that in first with something that is not going to shrink and not going to crack, and also quickly set up. You know, that stuff takes like 24 hours to fully cure, maybe longer depending on how cold it is or how humid it is. So this stuff, you go around first, and all your stuff, like whenever you have a place where you just have a kind of a bad joint, and here is more because, you know, like there's stuff like this right here. Like I'm gonna just get up in there and just fill that in, and then you go over it with your regular mudding and taping. Like I'll probably end up coming over here and hitting this with it. Even an 8-inch knife will go over this, but actually that's not really too bad. It's actually a relatively decent, decently small gap, but I'll probably just skim over all this first, and you know, this is pretty much all going to be covered in mud by the time we're all said and done. So anything that I see that's a little bit bigger, like that right there, right here, right there, you get the idea. I'm gonna go and fill it in real quick, and then, you know, I'll hopefully take about, you know, less than 45 minutes, and then we'll start with the actual taping. I did put this up here to cover these pipes up. Once I had the drywall in here, it just seemed like just seeing, you know, that open space looked really bad, so I didn't do it on film. I don't know, yeah, probably not gonna be able to see it, but all I did was just take some scrap 2x4s. I cut them down to, I think it ended up being about 9 inches, which was enough to, you know, clear everything. And this is just your 2x4. So I cut it down to only as thick as I need. I think it ended up being about 2 1/4 inches. And then I cut about 1 inch out, like something like this. And then I put 2 screws in. I kind of countersunk them a little bit. Put 2 like 3-inch screws in up into each joist, you know, every 16 inches across. But then left, you know, about 1.5 inches or so cut out right here for the pipes to run. So I screwed them all in, and then just screwed the drywall into the bottom of it, and then screwed a little piece across the front. And this was the end result. So I think once it's all mudded, taped, and painted, As far as, you know, like the pipes come down the wall, I can just paint all that just to try to blend them in a little bit. But just having that open space up there, I just think this, even if this ends up not looking perfect, it's gonna be a lot better. And I'm probably gonna end up putting a shelf along here for folding, like a foot deep shelf. The baskets can still fit up underneath of it, kind of thing, just to kind of give us a little something. I'll probably put a bar in somewhere. Anyway, this is mudding and taping. So I'm gonna start in the laundry room because that's where I can, you know, kind of make a few mistakes first, and then I'll put you guys on time lapse once I come out here and start doing out here where, you know, I'm a little more of an expert. I realized I haven't really showed a top view coming down the steps yet. So this is what we're working with up here. It's just, I think, plywood that they painted over. I'm gonna leave it the way it is, but I'm gonna just try to like touch it up a little bit. I'm gonna just try to either, I'm just gonna caulk in all the seams, and I think I'm gonna put like a piece of wood, like a shelf on each side that just hangs over like a ½ inch or something to kind of finish off the top, and probably just paint it blue. Either blue, or I'll come up with, you know, something to accent the floor wood color, like a stain. I'm not sure yet. The handrail did go down the right side, but I'm going to move it to the left side, I'm pretty sure, just because I kind of wanted to leave this side open over here. I did get a lot of the mudding and taping done yesterday, at least the first coat. Today I'm going to come down and I still have the ceiling to do, so I'll probably have to pull the lights down. And maybe not for the first coat because they're all relatively far away from the joints. I might be able to leave them up for this part. When I get to the final coat, I'm going to have to take them out though and use my spotlights. Definitely reminded about how much I don't like this part of it. I think I get better every time. It's really easy to start getting a little too OCD and thinking that you gotta, you know, make everything perfect, especially on the first go around. Like you have to remind yourself that no, you have 2 more coats after this. But even like this up here, like, actually already looks pretty good. This corner, there's no corner bead on this yet or anything there. I think I taped along the bottom. Yeah, I think that's all I did. I did that. I did most all the vertical corners and all the easy ones, I guess. I did not do that one over there. The laundry room, love that automatic switch. Looks fine for what it is. I started in here, try to make some mistakes in here, like probably that little bit right there where I don't think I had enough mud behind the tape. But I think after the extra couple of coats, it'll be fine. My little mini bulkhead up here to cover up the pipes has been more work than like any of it. Like, it's, you know, a little tiny thing, but it's like weight on top of all this stuff, and I gotta like lean over, and you know, and it's kind of heavy in a couple places up there. But I think overall it's gonna look better than if I had just left it completely open. I'm gonna close in over there. So that's what I've got done so far. Today we'll finish up the first coat, and I might have Julie come down. She wanted to do this part of it for some reason. I don't know why. I guess that's the difference between her and me. She's the more artistic, and this is, you know, like being a body guy as opposed to a mechanic, and a drywall guy as opposed to like a general contractor, I would say. Generally, the general contractors, they're capable of doing drywall work a little bit, but it's not their main thing. They're gonna have a guy that does that, or they're gonna, you know, sublet that out or subcontract that out, I guess you'd say. But again, this whole project is gonna be, I think, well under $5 grand, well under $5 grand. And at first I thought it was gonna be like half of that, but you know, you start having issues with things. I'm gonna probably gonna end up getting a new stationary tub, and just little things you don't think about at first, or at least if you're not in the business, you don't think about it. Like all the extra lights and hardware and screws and your tools you have to buy, and just stuff that just keeps adding up. I'm going to try to tally it up the best I can when I'm all done, but I think that it'll be under $5,000 for this part and the family room part, which, you know, was the original thing to do it. And that does not, that will, I don't think that's going to include furniture, although it might. I mean, we could probably get, you know, a halfway decent furniture set in here for, I don't know, $1,000 if I, you know, go cheap. You know, Big Lots, Value City Furniture, stuff like that. Yeah, I got a little fire going here this morning. I kind of feel like I'm definitely going to want to bring this, you know, the seating area with the TV back over to this side, because I kind of do like being close to the fireplace. I used to have it along this wall here, which just, it made more sense at the time, but at first I didn't want to set the room back up exactly how it was. But I think I'm going to end up going back over this way and put my desk back over where it was, maybe just over in one of the corners. I kind of had it out a little ways. It's nice and warm over here. Still haven't put the grills back on this thing. But it's a nice chilly morning here in New Windsor. Not much going on outside. Occasional car going by. Just kind of having my Sunday morning, and we'll get started doing some more mudding and taping in here. You know, when you get to a point like this, you really start to see where it's getting close, but then it's still so far away. It's like when you're on a long road trip. You know, it's like a, you know, say it's like a 600-700 mile road trip, and you get down to that last 100 miles, and you've been driving all day, and you're like, I'm almost there. You know, I'll be home in 20 minutes. And you still have like 2 hours. It's kind of one of those. But once it's painted and, you know, the drywall work is done, then the next step will be the floor. Actually, in my case, it's not. I'm going to clear out that bathroom first. Just clear it out. Get everything out of there. Probably the stuff in here too. And then just knock out the floor as quickly as I can, and then put everything back. All right, guys. I think the next thing you're going to see is going to be a time lapse. So I've got this one place, well, there's more than one, but there's only one out in this main part. The other ones are in the laundry room, where the tape did not get secured to the wall properly because I guess there wasn't enough mud behind it. What I found is that basically if the tape is only bubbling on the one side of the joint, and it's, you know, covering the joint still, then you can just cut out the bubble part of the tape and just mud over it. But if you do have, you know, a split, a gap, you do want to actually remove all of the tape and put a new piece of tape in there. Otherwise, you're just going to see, you're either going to see the bubbling or you're going to see a crack down the road. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of mark where it seems like it's good. In this case, I'm just going to pull this all the way out because I'm pretty sure this is going to go across the joint. It kind of comes all the way down to, let's say, about right there. So I'm going to just kind of score this. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to come up to here. I see it right there. So it looks like up in here it's still good. And let's see if we can just kind of get this dull blade now up under here. Pull it out. I don't actually see. Oh yeah, there. Yeah, it's there. Right in the middle of it. I might try to hit this with a sanding sponge. I just bought this one. I've used these in the past doing drywall. I like the fact that A, it's kind of long. The normal ones are only about like that. And it has this edge. So when you get up into a corner, you can run this corner all the way up into the corner and not have to worry about gouging the wall that's perpendicular to it. Because normally it's not like a perfect 90 degree and you're going to end up kind of messing up that other side. But anyway, I'm just going to take this side of it. Just kind of clean that up a little bit. And then I'll cut a piece of tape that fits as perfectly into that as I can. And what I'm probably going to do is use the 45-minute quick setup mud to do this repair and the other ones that are in the other room. That way I can go back over and give it another coat today, because I'm trying to get the last of my third coat on everything today, and then tomorrow I'll come down once it's dry and kind of just, you know, do like a quick sand and fill in any little things like this that just need like a light coat to kind of fill everything, make it nice and smooth, and then hopefully get the painting. All right, so I'm not sure if you can see these in here, but pretty sure you can actually still see the seam. So this one is only on one side. It's only like a ½ an inch or so. So in here, especially because it's in the laundry room, I'm just going to cut out the part that's bubbling up. Somehow this one just all the way down and just got messed up, and there's like one little bit right here. We'll see if that can just be cut out without retaping it. But I'm going to try to just cut out just the right side of it that's not over the gap. So yeah, just, you know, start where it's still sticking good, and then try to stay on the right side of the gap. All right, so I'm mixing up 3 pounds of the quick set, the 45-minute stuff, and it works out to be 2 pints of water that you mix in with it. The bag shows that it was 11 to 12 pints of water for the whole bag, which is 18 pounds. And I'm just using this old baby scale over here, set the bucket on there, zero it out. As long as you keep the ratio right, it was like, well, that seems to be way too soupy. Is my math wrong? Maybe in the smaller quantities you have to do it a little differently. So I'm just gonna add a little more of this stuff and mix it up. I don't even think I'm gonna put this in a tray or a pan, but I did cut a piece to perfectly fit in that little groove. Make sure we put it the right way. The part that wants to fold inward, that goes against the wall. It's also slightly fuzzier. And make sure we get a nice bit on there. And I get all those little air bubbles out. I think that should be good. Try to make it so there's no space between the old and the new tape. I'm going to try to push it by hand, make sure that it gets a good bond this time. This is going to be an area that we see really easily. Really do not want this to be something I looked at every single time we came down here. So again, I'm going to start in the middle and push. And go the other way. Of course, it is a little bit recessed, so it is a little bit harder to just push right on it, but I guess if you put a little bit of mud on there and use that. Yeah, hopefully the mud itself will add a little bit of pressure to it. As long as it stays bonded, doesn't get air behind it, it should be fine. Put it on a little bit thicker than probably I normally would. You should still be able to see your tape through the mud when you're doing this, but I'm gonna just kind of do that. Oops. And I'm gonna let that be good. This will dry up relatively quickly. So by the time I get done doing the rest of the mudding with the normal mud today, I can come over here and give this another coat. So that way tomorrow when I hopefully am doing my final sanding and skimming over stuff, it'll be good. All right, so that's pretty much it for fixing those. You can see it, you know, being right here, you're gonna end up seeing it like every time we came down here. I knew this section of the wall right here was probably gonna be a challenge to get it smoothed out. Hopefully that's gonna be sticking well this time. I think it is. This has its third coat on it. You can see it's fanned out pretty well. I got this sander as well. This came from Amazon, of course, and it came with probably like 18 or 20 sanding discs in 3 different thicknesses, but it has like a little bumper on the edge and it moves really easily. So if you're going to be sanding, make sure you have proper face gear. But I'm just going to kind of do a little quick. I mainly got it for the ceiling because the ceiling is not fun. This way, I should say it didn't come with a pole. This is just like a painting pole. Usually any broom handle should work too, but it should make pretty easy work of the ceiling. At least that's what I'm hoping for. All right, we are at the point where I'm about to start priming. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the same primer that I used on the paneling in the family room for the new walls here. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to do that. Everything has come out pretty good. I'm very happy. This is definitely my best drywalling work so far. Everything got really nice and smooth. There's no noticeable change in any texture when you run your hand over it. I've touched up a couple of areas that I found, you know, some imperfections that I have to sand a little bit just to kind of do like a last through. So this is what I've just been working on here. This became maybe slightly more of a nightmare than I had originally thought. The floor chipped up pretty easily. What wasn't as easy as I had hoped was I had to take this side of everything off over here, and it's okay because I mean this whole shower was done by the previous owner and it's really pretty bad. I mean there's just things that will annoy your OCD if you have OCD more than anything. It just never gets any better, but you don't really notice that if you're just kind of coming in here and using the bathroom. You know, it's not a big deal. So basically what I'm saying is the shower is going to stay the same. It already is a bluish color. It'll clean up pretty well, but all the floor tiles went up under the side tiles. They had side tiles going all the way around, and I guess at some point it looks like they screwed this either drywall or green board. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think it's just drywall. It looks like it's just drywall, and it looks like it's just some Tapcon screws. I started trying to just chip away the tile from the drywall, but it just was ripping it right up, as you can see right here. So I took my multi-tool and just scored all the way around the top of the tile and just pulled all that out. And it was pretty much, I had to do it anyway because the toilet was actually leaking. One of the studs was not in the groove, so basically it was only sealing on the one side. So all this back here was damp, and there was a little bit of mold along the back there, which I've hit with bleach about 2 or 3 times now. I'm gonna get in there again and just, you know, get all that out of there. There's nothing leaking over on this side, which is good because I'm not messing with any of that. That drain seems to be fine. It was just the toilet that was leaking. Everything else is good. So the plan is to get all this last little bit of residual tile out of here, dust, everything, and I'm gonna put just strips of drywall. I still have a little bit left over under here. I'm not sure how I'm going to attach it yet. I may have to get creative with that, but the idea is I'm going to put a little bit of drywall back in to fill in the gap, and then I'm probably just going to get some taller baseboard trim in here that will cover all of that, maybe like a 6 or 8 inch high, and just to cover everything up and make it as easy as possible. And I'll probably just glue that in place because there's not really going to be any way of really securing it easily to, you know, just the drywall, and there's no wood behind it. So probably just going to get some appropriate adhesive to do that, but that will come, well, yeah, I'm going to put the drywall on first, then I'm going to do the floor, and then that's when I'm going to start putting, you know, the trim back on. This will be tiled again. I have some extra tiles from in here. Not sure if I'm going to use that or if I'm going to just get some new tiles, like a mosaic or something, to just go back over here to finish that back off. And then basically, you know, just everything's going to get painted. It's all going to get painted the same. They seem to like this texture because they did this in other places in the house. Ceiling is gonna get scuffed up and painted, just to match the white ceiling paint. And any exposed pipes are just gonna get painted to try to blend in as best as possible. So that's the plan. Another quick look out here. I've just kind of left these recessed lights hanging to get them out of the way. We're gonna get started priming in here today, and it's gonna start looking like something here this week. We'll just go with that this week. Hey guys, we're in the basement now. Just kind of pretty much coming down to the home stretch. I'll kind of give you a little pan there, but the walls are painted, floor is down. I'm about to put the doors up today, and we can do trim, baseboard, stuff like that. I'm gonna put, I think, a piece of wood right here that's not painted, like actually stained, but I'm not quite sure what that's gonna be yet. What I'm working on today is these bullnose, actually making bullnose. Yes, hi Obi. Where she's standing, you see a nice new stair riser, and I am working on techniques to bend them. Check out another video. I'm going to do a separate video on that, but that's kind of where we're at. Everything now is going to be kind of finishing touches. Haven't done in the laundry room yet. Got in here, is tiled. Just got to do that strip up against the wall and put some base trim in here. Ceiling is painted. Got to do something with the edges up here, but it's coming along. I'm really pleased with how the drywalling turned out. I don't know how well you can see on camera, but I know there's all this junk in the way, but the joints all really blended in nicely. So coming along. So anyway guys, that's going to be it for this particular video. So if you like this whole process of me going through the basement, hit the like button and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. But anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.